Hello and welcome back to the another episode of Daily Quiz for IAS Prelims 2025. It is 12th September today, and in this video we are going to discuss these important articles which are on the slide, which were actually taken from the newspaper. Before we start our discussion, I would like to introduce this initiative to you guys so that you will get more connected to this video. Every day we discuss three types of questions in this video. The first set of questions are from the current affairs. We take up the most important articles relevant for your preparation from the newspapers. We try to break them into the simplest language possible and derive some prelims based questions from them so that you will get more connected with your preparation. You will get the idea how the questions can be framed from the current affairs. And the another set of questions are from the static topic. We discuss every day, we discuss some static topic here. As if you had followed me, you would know that we had started with the Indian polity, and today we are going to discuss or we are going to put some light on the preamble of the constitution and derive some questions with respect to it. At the end of the session we will discuss some previous year questions. So why we discuss previous year questions? To give you the idea how the questions do come in the exam, and also find out various methods by which you can solve the questions in the exam, and also how you can implement that information in your next exam. So I would like to request you guys, please do subscribe the channel and share it with your friends so that they may also get benefited. Before we start our discussion, I would like to request you one thing, that is, please do note these questions somewhere. It would be very much beneficial for you. When your exams would be near and you want to revise your current affairs, it won't be that much easy for you to cover the current affairs of whole year. So what you have to do, just revise these questions. It will connect you to the current affairs, as well as it will boost your confidence before entering the exam. So please do note these questions somewhere else. Do make note of these questions, or at least have screenshots of these questions. So with this, without any delay, let's have a look at the topics which we have to discuss today, from which we are going to derive today's quiz. The first article which was in the news is about the Public Accounts Committee. Why it is in the news? Because it has taken up the subjects which it is going to investigate. So our motive is not to discuss what are those subjects, but our motive is to understand what this Public Accounts Committee is about, and let's put some light on it. Let's get the basic idea about the Public Accounts Committee. It is an instrument of the Parliament. Let's get it point by point. It is an instrument of Parliament. It is the most important parliamentary committee, and it has huge role and significance in the successful governance. It is most powerful among all the committees in the parliament which we have. It holds, what is its main function? It holds executive responsible. It is responsible for auditing revenues and the expenditure of the government. So its main function is to audit the revenues and the expenditure of the government. It holds the executive responsible to the legislatures. We have CAG also. We have CAG which audits the government expenditures, and Public Accounts Committee, it can it has in its power that it can examine the CAG too. So what is the function of the Public Accounts Committee? What it does, it holds executive responsible. Its function is to audit the revenue and the expenditure of the government. One more principle, by if you had followed me when we had started preparing our started our static topic, we discussed one thing, that I always mention that the executive is responsible to the legislature. Executive, they make laws for you, they make policies for you, they manage your accounts, they manage your money. So they should be questionable to anybody. So who can question them? It is the legislature which questions them, which wants clarity from the executive. And this is done by this instrument, which is Public Accounts Committee. It is the most powerful committee in the constitution which holds the executive responsible. About its establishment, about the establishment of the Public Accounts Committee, it was originally established during the colonial era itself. It was established in 1921, but after 1950 it was newly restructured. Earlier executive member was the head of this committee, which undermined the role of interest, which undermined the interest behind it. Because if executive is the head of it, then how it can work properly. So after 1950, what it was restructured, and there is no executive, no minister can be the part of it. It consists of 22 members, 15 from Lok Sabha and 7 from Rajya Sabha. And about it, it is the speaker is, it is the speaker who ensures to establish it. About the members of the Public Accounts Committee, we should know one thing, that they are elected for 1 year term. And how they are elected? They are elected by the proportional representation by a single transferable vote. So this is status with respect to the members. And one thing we should remember, that who is the chairperson of this Public Accounts Committee. It is always by convention from the 1960s. It has been the convention that its chairman should be the opposition leader of the opposition, or any person from the opposition. Now here a question can arise in your mind, why we are discussing this here? Because earlier in the last decade, we had seen the Modi government enjoyed the extreme majority in the parliament elections. So it somehow there were allegations that it undermined the parliamentary committees, it undermined the parliamentary functioning. Now after the 23 elections, we had got the great opposition to them. So now it is said that this parliament will function in a proper way because of the opposition which right now we had got in this election, and it will impact the working of the parliament, working of the executive more efficiently. And executive members would be more responsible to the legislature. They would be asked questions, their policies would be checked, and their accounts would be audited. So this is all about this Public Accounts Committee, why it was in the news. The main purpose why it was in the news, because it has taken some subjects for the sumoto investigation. So those subjects are not that much important for us to discuss right now. Once the report would be given, then we will discuss them. Right now, just know what was the headline behind it, and in the next slide we will solve the questions with respect to it. The another article which was in the news is about the economic decentralization. Here why we are discussing this economic decentralization, because if you remember that the Modi government, the PM Narendra Modi, he urged the state governments or local governments to increase their investment, to increase their role in attracting the foreign investment. So in simpler terms, as it was understood from his approach, from his request, it is said that the government is looking for the economic decentralization. But here the author, he mentioned few things. He compared this decentralization with the China's decentralization, how it can have its impact on the economy and how it can harm the economy. He said that the writer, he mentioned that in China also they went for the economic decentralization, in which the local government and state governments, they were given they had taken up the role in attracting the foreign investment. They had invested huge in the infrastructure, and it finally led to the growth of the China. But at some time it has some threshold point. After that it is very much harmful for the country, as we are seeing right now, which is what is happening in the China, as the money companies there are on loss making. There are they are overburdened by the manufacturing. That's why they are going for different schemes. They are looking forward to the weaker countries, because they had produced so much, nobody is willing to buy that. So these are the issues with respect to the economic decentralization. That is what the author here wants to mention, that he is warning the government we should not go for that much decentralization, that eventually it will hurt the country. In the economic decentralization, what states do, they start to compete with each other. They overlook the national interests. They always try to impress the center over their performance, and they overlook the national interests. They go for the mass investment. They go for mass infrastructure development, and at the end it is the country which suffers. So that is what the author here tries to warn the country, tries to warn the center, tries to warn the government that we should not totally look into one way of understanding the economic decentralization. We should know what its impact could be. We should know how harmful in the long run it could be for a country, as right now the China is experiencing its harms. After this article, there was another article. It was about the border development. The Home Ministry, they had they had put some light on the border development, how it can help in the border management. We have number of border villages. Land borders are very remote. They have difficult terrain, and very little economic activities are going on there. So the connectivity is also limited, whether it is digital connectivity or or infrastructural connectivity. So it is very much limited, and it is very much important for the country to develop its borders, so that the country will be more connected with the people, so that country will be more secure. Agar if any bad happens to the country, it is the it if any bad from the foreign from the neighboring countries happen to any country, so it is the first border villages which get affected. So it is the prior duty of the country to secure their border villages, to try to build that trust within the people living there. If these border villages are ignored, what does it impact? It has two various impacts, two huge impacts. First, the people living there will start migrating. There will be mass migration, and it will put overburden on the urbanization, overburden on the other states. So it will definitely have very bad impact on the country, on the country's economy. And also these villages would become vacant, and it will pave way for the foreign countries would start interfering there. This is one of the impact. And another impact, if these border villages are ignored, the people, the youth which are living there, they feel ignored, they feel they are not valued in the country, and they start to take extreme options. They start to join militancy, they start to join drug lords, they start to join they start going for the criminal activities, which eventually impacts the country. They start joining hands with their neighboring countries which are enemies to our country. So this eventually impacts our country's security and also country's economy. So what our country has done with respect to the border development, in 1980s itself, we had brought up the border development, border area development program. It was launched in 1980s itself. It helped in providing better development. And later it was earlier it was involved in the areas near Pakistan only, in the borders which border the Pakistan area only. But later, because of its successfulness, because of its results, it was it was expanded to all the borders of our country. And with this, in last year's program, we had brought up the vibrant village program. It was counter to the China's modern village program, in which the China tried to repopulate the border villages. So this is about the border development and what India has done with respect to it, and how it can impact the country. After this, there was another article. It is about the Ayushman Bharat scheme. you know about Ayushman Bharat scheme, we should know that it was launched in 2018. It is based on National Health Policy of 2017. It has two components, which is health and wellness centers around country, and Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. In the Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, Modi government aims to cover 40% of the country with insurance cover of 5 lakh. Why it is in the news? Because of the new update it has introduced, which is that update. The new update is about the senior citizens above 75 years will be eligible for extra 5 lakh cover. So this is the new update with respect to the Ayushman Bharat, and in the end we will solve some question with respect to it. The another article which was in the news is about the Central Drugs Standards Control Organization. Why it is in news? Because it has recalled certain eye drops which were which were claiming false claims about it, their manufacturing, about the impact of that eye drops. So it has recalled that eye drop. And with respect to the Central Drug Standard Control Organization, we will solve some question and understand this organization more properly. After that, there was another article. It was about the pollution in the Delhi and near states because of the stubble burning. What government is going to do, they are going to use the biodecomposers for the stubble which the farmers are left after they start to after the sowing, and they start to cut after they cut their plants which they had sowed. After that, they start to burn that stubble. But the government has brought up another initiative. It is spraying biodecomposers over the stubble. It has been developed by IARI, and this biodecomposers will definitely help in reducing the air pollution. So with respect to this, we will solve some questions in the next slide. After that, there was another and last important article in the newspaper which was relevant for your preparation. It is about the mission Mosam. Its objective is to improve the weather forecasting, and it was introduced by the Ministry of Earth Science. And this is in a nutshell about it. At the end, after we will solve the questions with respect to these prelims based articles, we will discuss the preamble of the constitution. We will put some light on it. This is a very big article itself. If we will start discussing it, it will take at least 2 to 3 hours to discuss it properly. So today we are going to take some parts of the preamble of the constitution and solve some questions with respect to it. And at the end of the session, we will solve some previous year questions. So with this, I hope you had understood the context of the questions which we are going to discuss here. The major aim is not to discuss the news analysis here. So please have the clear idea about this initiative. Major aim is not to discuss the news analysis, but to discuss the questions which can be framed from those articles. We could have given directly questions here, but many of the students would not be able to connect those questions with the what is the context behind them. So that is the reason we bring these news articles also. We take up the most important points from the newspaper and try to discuss them with you. Before we discuss them, I assume that you had already read the newspaper. If you had not read your newspaper, then it is okay. At least we have taken all the important points and discussed them here, so don't worry about that. If you want to read it, that is good. If you want to trust us, that is also good. There was nothing much which we had left here, so it is totally up to you. I would recommend to read the newspaper. Now let's start solving the questions with respect to these articles. Here the first question is, which of the following is a key function of the Public Accounts Committee in the Indian Parliament? First, so we discussed about the Public Accounts Committee. Let's see what is the key function. First, formulating fiscal policies and budgetary allocation. No, it is not its function. Second, reviewing the implementation of government schemes and policies. 100% correct. It is function. Third, examining the comptroller and auditor general's report on public expenditure. 100% correct. It does examine the CAG's report. Fourth, overseeing legislative procedures and parliamentary conduct. No, it is not its function. So with respect to this question, the correct answer is option 2 and option 3 only, and from the code given below, the correct code is option B. So I would again repeat, please take note of these questions. These will definitely help you revising the current affairs, because you will get the idea what was in the current affairs, and also it will improve your information, it will improve your knowledge and boost your confidence. Now with this, let's move to the another here. It says, which of the following are potential impacts of economic decentralization? We discussed economic decentralization, how PM Modi, he wanted states to compete with each other, and what can be its impact according to the author. How states can overcome in the competition, they will overcompete and start investing so much that at the end there would be huge manufacturing, huge goods would be created, but unfortunately we won't have the market, and it will definitely lead to inflation in the country, and finally it will impact the country as a whole. So here we have a question, which of the following are potential impacts of the economic decentralization? It has good impacts too, because China had seen those impacts. It has from 1960s itself, it has seen the growth. We had seen the growth of China, but it has some saturation point also. So let us solve this question. The first, improved local governance and increased accountability of local officials. 100% correct. It improves the local governance and the accountability of local officials because they get more involved in it. Second, it enhanced efficiency in the allocation of resources and public services tailored to local needs. 100% correct. This is also the impact of it. Third, reduced central government control over national economic policies. No, this is not. It does not reduce the central government's control. So this is something extreme statement here. So this is incorrect. Statement 4, increased uniformity in policy implementation across different regions. Though this is totally incorrect, because when it becomes central, when it becomes decentralized, different states have different needs, so it does not become uniform. So this also, statement 4 is also incorrect. So with respect to this question, the correct statements are statement 1 and statement 2, and from the codes given below, the correct code is option A only. Now with this, move to the another question. It talks about the modern village program is the initiative of which country. We discussed it with respect to the border security. Is it the initiative of India? No. Is it initiative of Pakistan? No. Is it initiative of Bangladesh? No. It is definitely initiative of China. And in contrast to the modern village program, India has brought up the vibrant villages program, that is opposite to the modern village program of China. So after that, let's move to the question here. It is about the Ayushman Bharat scheme. It says, which of the following statements regarding the Ayushman Bharat scheme are correct? First statement, Ayushman Bharat is a health insurance scheme providing coverage for secondary and tertiary care hospitalization. 100% correct. Statement 2, the scheme is targeted at providing financial protection to individuals below the poverty line. No, not only below to the poverty line, as it is extreme statement. It includes everybody. So statement 2 is incorrect. Statement 3, Ayushman Bharat has two components, Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana and health and wellness centers. 100% correct. Statement 3 is correct. Statement 4, the scheme is implemented through a partnership between the central and state governments, with each state administering its own health insurance policies under PMJ. No, each state, the scheme is implemented through a partnership between the center and state, but each state does not have its own health insurance policy. So statement 4 is incorrect. So with respect to this question, the correct statement is option B, which is 1 and 3 only. Now with this, let's move to the question. It says it is about the Central Drug Standard Control Organization. Which of the following statements about it are correct? Statement 1, the CDSCO is the National Regulatory Authority for Drugs and Medical Devices in India. 100% correct. Statement 2, CDSCO operates under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare and is responsible for the approval of the new drugs and clinical trials. 100% correct. Statement 3, the organization is tasked with ensuring the quality of drugs manufactured only within India. Not only within India, but all the drugs. So statement 3 is incorrect. Statement here, the statement 3 is also incorrect because it is also extreme. Coming to the statement 4, it says CDSCO also oversees the enforcement of drug pricing policies in India. No, this enforcement of drug pricing policies in India falls under the National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority, not CDSCO. So statement 4 is incorrect. Statement 3 is incorrect, and here the correct statements are statement 1 and statement 2 only. So here with this, I think you had understood this question too. Now with this, let's move to the here. Now let's move to the another question. It is about which of the following statements correctly describe the impact of biodecomposers on air pollution. The first statement, biodecomposers such as certain microorganisms and enzymes help in the breakdown of organic waste, which can lead to a reduction in the emission of greenhouse gases from landfills. 100% correct. Statement 2, the use of biodecomposers directly reduces the levels of particulate matter and nitrogen oxides in the atmosphere. No, it does not directly reduce because it is used indirectly it is used to decompose the waste. For example, as here the context is with respect to the stubble, which the farmers have after harvesting their crops. So it does not have direct impact on that it reduces the levels of particulate matter and nitrogen oxide, but it helps in decomposing the waste, which finally indirectly helps in reducing these particulate matter. So statement 2, as the context here is directly reduced, so it is incorrect. Statement 3, by accelerating the decomposition of organic waste, biodecomposers can contribute to decreased methane emission, a potential greenhouse gas. 100% correct. Statement 4, biodecomposers are primarily used for improving soil health and do not have a significant impact on air quality. They are, this statement, they are primarily used for improving soil health and do not have significant impact on air quality. Yes, they are primarily used for soil health, but they do have a significant impact on air quality too. So here the statement 4 is also incorrect. So from this question, the correct statement is option 1 and option 3 only, and from the code given below, the correct code is option A. With this, let's move to the another question. It is about the mission Mosam. It is an initiative launched by which of the following ministries in India? Is it Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change? No. Is it Ministry of Science and Technology? No. Is it Ministry of External Affairs? Totally incorrect. So the correct statement is option 2, which is Ministry of Earth Sciences. It is the initiative of Ministry of Earth Sciences. Now with this, I hope you had understood the current affairs part. Now let's move to the static topic which we have to discuss. The today's topic is preamble of the Constitution of India. So about the preamble of the Constitution of India, there has been a huge question whether preamble is the part of the Constitution or it is not part of the Constitution. This question we will discuss in a separate class. But here let's get the basic idea about the preamble of the Constitution of India. Actually, it is preamble to the Constitution of India. Who was the first country who had the preamble at the beginning of the Constitution? It is American Constitution, which was the first to begin with the preamble. It is the American Constitution which has the preamble at the beginning, which begins with the preamble, It was about the preamble. It is the introduction to the Constitution. We should know that it is the introduction to the Constitution. The term preamble refers to the introduction or a preface of the Constitution. It contains the summary or essence of the Constitution, and according to P.N. Palkhiwala, who is an eminent jurist and constitutional expert, he called the preamble as the identity card of the Constitution. About the preamble, who introduced it? It was based on the objective resolution which was drafted and moved by the Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. So how many times the preamble has been amended? It has been amended only once. It was amended by 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act, which introduced the socialist, secular and integrity in the preamble. So this is the basic idea about the preamble. Let's recap it. It was the American Constitution which was first to begin with the preamble. About preamble, it is the introduction to the Constitution. It defines the values of the Constitution. It gives you the summary of the Constitution. What the Constitution is about. What are all the provisions? What does they define? What is the constitutionalism in it? What is the morality in it? It defines all that stuff in these simpler terms. After that, according to the an eminent jurist, which is N.A. Palkhiwala, the preamble is the identity card of the Constitution. It is based on the objective. This preamble, it has been amended by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. The preamble and also the preamble of the to the Indian Constitution is based on the objective resolution drafted and moved by Pandit Nehru. So this is little bit in nutshell about it. In next class, we will discuss the terms of the preamble and also ingredients of the preamble. We will discuss it in the next class. Now let us solve a question on this small idea which we got about the preamble. Here the question is, the preamble of the Indian Constitution is based on the objective resolution, which is correct, which was drafted and moved by whom? Was it moved by Dr. Ambedkar? No. N.A. Palkhiwala? No. M.N. Roy? No. Pandit Nehru? 100% correct. The correct option to this question is option 4. Now I hope you had understood the static topic also. We discussed about it. If we will start discussing it separately, it will take huge time. So our motive is to discuss everything in a very steady manner, so that everything would be very much easily understood. Now with this, let's move to the last part of discussion, which is the discussing previous year questions. Here the first question is, the radical wing of the Congress party with Jawaharlal Nehru as one of its main leaders founded Independence for India League in opposition to This Independence of India League was founded in opposition to the Finance Commission, no. The National Development Council, no. Nehru Report, 100% it was in opposition to the Nehru Report. So for this question, the correct statement is option 3. Now moving to the another question here, it says which of the following was an immigrant communist journal of M.N. Roy? Is it Kisan Sabha? No. Is it the Worker? No. Is it Communist Vanguard? 100% correct. So this, with respect to this question, the correct statement is option C. So I hope with this we complete today's discussion. I hope you had understood it. You will definitely note these questions somewhere. I believe that, and you will definitely subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends. So thank you very much for staying with me. Thank you. Love you all.